Hello, welcome back to Bookshelves. My name's Shelby. This is a channel where we talk about all things bookish, reading and writing, and today I am so excited to be joining you with a quick fall TBR. I hope you have a cozy warm fall beverage of your choice nearby. I was literally just putting this list together for myself and kind of creating a stack to keep in my bedroom, and I thought, well, why not share this? I'm sure a lot of the books on this list are books that are also on your radar. When it comes to fall reading, I'm always interested in things that are a little dark and creepy, mystery oriented, maybe a little bit of witchiness, and maybe a little bit of academia. So hopefully you'll see some of that on this list. And without any further introduction, let's jump into it. So first on this list is Hexologists, A Tangle in Time. This is by Josiah Bancroft. It's the second in a series, and I think I talked a little bit about how much I enjoyed the first book in this series last year on the channel. It's a magical mystery detective story that follows a couple, Iz and Warren Wilby, who are hexologists. They use symbols and magic items to solve magical crimes. Josiah Bancroft is known for really weird, wacky, whimsical writing, and that really shows up in his world building in these books. It feels very 1920s, even though it is an alternative setting altogether. And I really enjoyed the first book, and it certainly feels like it has Murder of the Week series potential. So I'm super jazzed for the sequel. I have not even read the back of this book. I bought it because I knew how much I loved the first one. So let's find out together what the premise of this story is. Ooh, okay. So this says that a famous artist dies under suspicious circumstances, and that is sort of the case that brings us all together. And it feels as though the laws that govern magic are breaking down. So this murder mystery story will take us into the seedy underworlds of this magical place, enchanted gardens, and subterranean military zoos. I have no further questions. I'm very excited about this one. Another book that isn't a true full sequel, but that is a follow-on from an author I love is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This is by Sangu Mandana, and she, of course, wrote The Very Secret Society for Irregular Witches, which was such a major hit a year or two ago. A cozy story about found family, and had really interesting but light world building about witches not being able to congregate because they might reveal themselves to the world. And it was a funny, sweet story. And I'm very eager to read this next book, which I understand to be set in the same world, though I could be missing something there. The basic premise of this book is that our main character was sort of outcast and has lost a lot of her magic after resurrecting her very recently deceased aunt. That kind of magic is outlawed, and so she is sort of punished and ostracized, and because of that, she goes to live with her recently resuscitated aunt, and they run a magical inn. And I think they encounter all kinds of curious characters in this story. And I think there's also probably a big self-discovery element as our main character tries to recover the magic that she lost in that great magical act. I'm not sure if there's a romance, but there is a mysterious man named Luke on the back of the cover. So I think there's a good chance that this will also be a bit of a cozy romance, which I'm very much looking forward to. This next book is another highly anticipated new release that was on my radar for fall. That is Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher, the one and only, my ultimate go-to for dark, gothic fairy tale retellings. She is so funny. I love T. Kingfisher's kind of tongue-in-cheek writing. She is so knowing about the genre that she writes in, and you really feel that. Like, she's always playing with your expectations and making nods to tropes, and it's just, she's so fun. I love every book of hers I've ever read, although I confess I don't often read her horror books, but all of her dark fairy tales, her romances, those I'm a big fan of. So Hemlock and Silver, first of all, came out with neon green pages, which I thought was pretty funny. But this is a Snow White retelling, and our main character is an apothecary, a healer who kind of learned about healing through poisons, and kind of, something that can make you feel better in a small dose can kill you in a large dose. And I believe that our Snow White character is the person that she has been summoned to heal. And as I understand it, she kind of gets roped into a bunch of court politics, kind of unwanting, as she arrives to work on this puzzle that is Snow White's illness. I just have so much trust in T. Kingfisher that I don't need to know anything else about the book. I'm confident I'm going to love it, and I'm very happy to have another of her books on my shelf. Okay, this next book is a book that no one will shut up about on the internet, and that is The Raven Scholar, which is by Antonia Hodgson. And this book, I have not heard a single bad review about it. It's enormous. It's got an absolutely phenomenal cover. I don't know if you're able to kind of catch how beautiful this silver foiling is. It almost takes on like a really rainbowy effect in the light, and everything I've heard about it makes me think I'm going to love it. So I decided to pick it up, even though I've never read this author before, which is not common for me. I usually pick up new releases from the library or from one of my audiobook subscription services first to kind of trial it out. But in this case, I could hardly believe I wouldn't like this book. Everything I've heard about it seems phenomenal. I'm trying to think of how to like briefly summarize the premise for you. As I understand it, this book is set in a world where there are sort of different houses, different sects of society. All of them are named after these animalistic gods, like the raven in The Raven Scholar. And these great houses compete for like the throne of the emperor or something similar every so many years. I think it's every 25 years. And so we're coming up on a new competition. I'm not sure if it's a scheduled competition or if something happened to the last leader, but our main character is a scholar of the Raven, and she gets wrapped up in all kinds of intrigue, politicking, and danger as her house is competing for the throne. ? As I understand it, it's like a trial story, but also a murder mystery and also full of magic. So I can just hardly believe it will be anything other than incredible. And I will certainly report back to you all with my 2 cents when it's finished. Okay, just 2 more left on my TBR. I try to keep them pretty modest. Like, I'm only going to read a couple books a month, if I'm being honest. So second to last is Blood Over Bright Haven, another internet favorite. Emma Wang is like a darling of BookTube to begin with. She, of course, wrote Sword of Kaigen, which is one of like the most breakthrough indie published turned traditional published books. It's been on my reading list for forever. It's kind of incredible. I picked up Bright Haven first. I just happened to see it on a sale and thought, well, now's my moment to try out Emma Wang. It's another book that comes so highly reviewed that I find it hard to believe that I would think anything other than great things about this book. It's another beautifully sprayed edges book, this time in blood red. But I really like the design. It's like kind of like a typewriter in a fire. I'm curious to find out more about what the art on this cover means, because it's a really cool cover. So Blood Over Bright Haven is like a dark academia story, and it follows a woman who is about to become the first female mage in her world. She encounters a great deal of sexism throughout that process. And this world is also kind of divided by some kind of like regional geopolitical lines. And so she is paired kind of as a punishment with a man from this like lower class other region. And so we see this really interesting dynamic with them where we see that she is being so punished by sexism. And it manages to be so blind to how that parallels the person she's being forced to spend time with as a punishment. She is full of bias against him, not able to recognize, the ways in which that bias is so similar. So I think it's going to be a fun story that really grapples with a lot of social issues, but also, of course, we're in a magical school setting. So I expect to see a lot of really cool magic, as well as some of those other themes that tend to arise from dark academia books. I'm very excited to pick this up. I really hope I like it because I'm desperate to read Emma Wong's other book, and I want this to set a good tone for that. So fingers crossed. Okay, and then my last book on the fall TBR for 2025 is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. She's such a classic voice in the world of Gothic literature, but also, of course, in like early sci-fi and ghost stories. So I'm just really excited to read this classic. I've never read it before. The way my high school English class worked was that Frankenstein was one of several books in I think it was like a Victorian literature section. So I think I was assigned to Tessa the Dubervilles when like half of my other classmates were reading Frankenstein. But my husband really likes this book, and I'm pretty sure there's a new movie adaptation coming out. I want to say with Oscar Isaac, but I could be lying to you. So between kind of wanting to be familiar with this classic, having that little movie impetus, and my husband insisting that it is a classic that I really would enjoy and that it's such a good fit for the season, I'm hoping to pick that up as well. I swear to God, we have a copy of it in this house, but I cannot find it anywhere. So you'll just have to imagine it. I'll put up a picture, and hopefully I will find the copy in order to read it before the end of the season. So there you go. Those are the books on my fall TBR. This was just a quick check-in video to give you a sense of what I'm reading. Of course, I'm dying to know what all of you are reading. Fall is probably my favorite season. I love the weather cooling down, wearing cozy sweaters, reading creepy books, and I really enjoy hearing how other people kind of like luxuriate in this season and how they spend their time. So all of your reading recommendations or priorities for your reading list this fall, I would love to know. And with that, I will see you all soon in another video. Bye!